We're in the Ukraine at the moment.
We're in southern Ukraine, but it's sovereign Poland. The King of Poland's banners fly at various points. Right, so what's this about? This combined army of Turks and Tatars wants to stop this becoming the first solid line of defence. The idea is to crash through this before it can be properly reinforced. That's why they've come on fast, and that's where the disadvantages of the Turkish situation turn up. If you look at your army, it has got almost no artillery. Now the Turks actually liked artillery and they had loads of it, but it's 2 days back travelling at a snail's pace.
So they've got handguns and nothing.
Yeah, they've got handguns and hand weapons. The only artillery you've got is a few light guns with your Janissary Corps, with your elite infantry.
Right.
And this experimental stuff, which is rockets, would you believe?
So
17th century.
right.
Sometime between the 1620s and the 1660s probably.
Right.
Really, even having strengthened the garrison, the only garrison troops are these, and those. What's coming? Reinforcements marshalled together on a regional basis. But the Turks have almost achieved their objective already, because this much weaker Polish force hasn't managed to get in place yet. It's just arriving.
So they've got cannons.
Artillery. There's one heavy battery in that redoubt, two in this one, and one in this one.
Right. Okay.
The Turks and Tatars have nothing comparable to that. The Poles want this to be a firefight, basically. The Turks want it to come to hand strokes.
Well, they don't really have many men, do they? So
No, they don't.
who are these guys with the enormous
Europe. It was a serious criminal offence to export their horses.
Goodness.
They're the best horses in Europe. They could move like medium cavalry, but they had the striking power of heavy cavalry. They're quite remarkable.
I've never seen uniforms anything like that.
Now leopard skins and polished armour and eagle wings.
So the eagle wings, is that what they're called?
And 15-foot lances.
Goodness.
They can outreach anything on the other side, but there are not very many of them.
No.
They're very expensive, and they take a long time to train. They're the best troops in the field.
And this is the leader, obviously.
Yeah, he's the commander of the whole
thing.
relief force that's coming up, and he's also simultaneously commander of that brigade. They've managed to get one brigade in line. I'll take you through that since you've just mentioned. They are the real punch. There's nothing else on the table of the same quality. Then you have the panzerni, the armoured Cossacks, if you like, who are medium cavalry, who are used like this. You put them on each flank of a hussar regiment, and you use them to stop the hussars getting distracted to their flanks. They keep the flanks clear, and the hussars deliver a straight punch at maximum force in successive waves. There's also Polish light cavalry, but none of it's arrived yet for some strange reason. The heavies and the mediums are coming out first.
And they've built pontoon bridges across the river here.
This is a permanent bridge,
Right.
but they're also building a pontoon. For reasons that, well, I know, but you don't.
Boats here too.
That's the pontoon bridge. The model river is too narrow, but
Right. Okay.
the river, by the way, is unfordable. The only way across it are the bridges.
Right.
And what you want are these two roads.
Right.
That's what you want. Now, your army is deployed in such a way to try to maximise the opportunities for breakthrough. The way it will work is that the cavalry will try to force their way through the intervals, the gaps in the line, and the infantry will storm the 2 strong points. Never mind that one. If the other 2 go, that one's irrelevant.
This?
Yeah. The Turkish infantry's job is to capture these 2 strong points, to break the line. For that, I've put these white tapes, these white threads on to try to give some, to help you to see some structure. Skirmishers, 1 unit of skirmishers to 2 of assault troops, 1 unit of skirmishers to 2 of assault troops, and this fella commands that division, right? You've got an identical division there, commanded by this geezer.
And this one on the horse, what's he doing?
He's this strange experimental rocket artillery.
All right.
And depending on how, so the idea will be that this division will assault that redoubt, this division will assault that redoubt, and the elite, they do the opposite to Europeans who in the period always led with the best. The Turks keep the best till last.
This is the Janissary.
This is the Janissary Corps, and they're commanded by him. He's the Aga. This is the deputy Aga out in front. We'll explain that in a minute. They will go wherever to support either or both attacks. The Janissary Corps is subdivided along this line. These are the mass of the ordinary Janissaries with a unit of skirmishers in front. Here's another unit of skirmishers, and behind them the fellas in white, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it looks like Peyk, P-E-Y-K is the usual version in English. They're the only unit on the table that under the rules doesn't have a morale rating. The reason for that is they're all Janissaries, so they're all elite troops to start with, but they're a selected body from the Janissary Corps picked for particular religious fanaticism. So they don't stop. It doesn't matter how you shoot them up, those that are still on their feet will keep going.
They look as though they're fairly dervishes.
Yeah, and they're deadly if they get in. But necessarily
they're the elite of the elite.
They're the elite of the elite, and they don't have a morale rating in the rules because no amount of damage will stop them.
Right.
They'll just keep going till they can't move. The Janissaries have high morale, but they're professional soldiers. They've got a pension scheme, which was unheard of in Europe at the time. And some of them will be men who've seen it and done it and would quite like to take their pensions.
And go.
Yeah. So they'll fight hard and professionally, but they're
really the Sultan's elite troops, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not BAMs like this one.
Right, okay.
The cavalry, the two cavalry wings are identical. You've got 2 regiments of medium spies, mail armour, lances, bows and pistols. They're armed to the teeth, and 1 of heavies. Now a European army would put its heavies at the front, but the Turks put their heavies at the back because Turkish heavy cavalry is different. The armour of the men is no heavier than the mediums, but Turkish heavy cavalry, if you look at them, have armoured horses.
Very much heavier horses.
Which makes them slower, so they put them at the back so they don't impede the movement of those. And then you've got squadrons of light cavalry out on the flank to keep their flanks clear.
Right.
This lot are the foot Tartars. That's the Tartar army over there. More on them in a moment. The other disadvantage the Turks have had by coming up fast is they've done no reconnaissance of this area. So this wood to you is a complete unknown, and their job is to sweep it.
So they don't know if there's anybody in there.
You don't know if there's any. I mean, you might get blasts of musketry into your flank. There might be 2 rabbits.
Right.
You don't know. That's the disadvantage. I mean, it's really tedious moving these figures through this. So what we'll do is we'll just move that one, and the rest can be deemed to be in that layout with them. Right, now move to the other flank. Person near his master of horse, who is his second in command. All apart from these and these are light cavalry, skirmishers. They don't like to mix it hand to hand, but they whirl about like a whirlwind and they shower arrows everywhere. That's their method of fighting. Some don't have bows. Puro Tartars don't have bows, but they're combative like cavalry.
So there's some have got bows and some have got lances.
Yes, these are the Tartar nobles. They're the exact equivalent of the Turkish medium cavalry. They're armoured with lances. And this is his personal entourage. He's been given the job of shutting the bridges down.
Right.
So the Tartar army's job is to shut the bridges, close it off. And unfortunately, some of the Poles have got across already. Is it enough? We'll see. The Polish objective is just to hold this off. They can't possibly hold this line in the long run. The objective is to cause delay, so that the rest of the Turkish army has to come up, dragging its heavy guns through the mud and blah 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 blah, and has to deploy, and then they'll scarper. And that's if they win the initial action. If they manage to hold this line today, all they're going to do is to make the Turks pile up, spend time deploying, and then they're going to get out while they can.
Right. So they're not really going to hold these forts or whatever they are for long. They're not intended to do that.
By the end of tomorrow, their intention is to be gone.
Right.
And the garrison, the peacetime garrisons, are all infantry, so they would never get out.
Right.
I mean, you've got 100 miles of open country before the nearest town. And the Turks have masses of cavalry. Nobody's going to get away. If this breaks, nobody's going to get away on foot.
No.
And there's only two options if that happens. This fella's name is Kruk, Igor Kruk, so he is, Kruk's the Polish for a crow. So that's his banner. And here you have Stuart's regiment, Scottish mercenaries. They have really seen it and done it and worn the t-shirt. They worked 5 years ago for the King of Denmark, then they worked for the King of Sweden, now they work for the King of Poland. It's just another job.
Yeah, just paid to do it.
Yeah, they're just paid professional soldiers.
So your wee bits of threads, what were you doing?
They were just to help you to see the structure and ignore them, and we'll take them off if they start to irritate. Right. Well, I mean, it's looking desperate, isn't it? Huge gaps. What other intelligence do you have? Well, you can see a dust cloud here.
So more are coming.
So either more are coming or it hasn't settled from them. That's quite a concentrated dust cloud. It seems to be over the road. Over here, there's a wider but more diffuse dust cloud back here. So something's happening.
So they might be having massive reinforcements.
It won't be massive. It won't be massive. Your worst scenario is that you retain a numerical superiority of 3 to 1. At the moment you've got 4 or nearly 5 to 1. Yeah, they're the frontier line. These, that and that and that have been there for decades.
Right.
The outer works have been thrown up since the garrison was reinforced a couple of weeks ago. So your advantages are numbers, masses of cavalry, so mobility, and the Turkish infantry are a bit lighter on their feet than European infantry. The They've just got hand weapons. And they don't fire, the Turkish army at this stage didn't fire organised volleys like European armies. They were given a fire order and everybody just shot away until they were told to stop. It worked for them.
These ones have got bows and arrows?
Yes, they're skirmishers. They won't go in to fight hand to hand voluntarily. What will happen is if they move up against this redoubt, they'll eventually swing out to one or both flanks and keep up pelting the garrison with arrows. These are the assault troops. Them, and them. And that's another skirmish unit covering the rear too.
It's as though they're pretty well defended. They're behind all these walls that are in barricades.
Right, what have we got here? This is what it appears to be. It's sharpened log defences, but they're heavily pegged and chained in. They are an obstacle, but you can smash your way through them. This is a tree trunk palisade. It's pretty tough, but it's not high. You can actually scramble this. You can't scramble the redoubt, which is why each of your 2 infantry divisions is deemed to be carrying ladders. And it's an awful faff to actually have the models, but you're deemed to have 2 ladders with this division, and 2 ladders with that division, and if you actually get inside there, you can use those to get up and finish the job. These can be smashed down by a number of figures equivalent to the length you want to break down, standing there for 1 turn and doing nothing else.
Right.
That will be deemed to be them demolishing those, and then they just go.
They've got to get over there first.
So they've got to get there, then they've got to take the fire for another turn, and then it's down. And the distance there is very carefully worked out. Yeah. The officers of Stuart's have seen it all. They've paced this out, and this is just in short musketry range. So the fire from the palisade will be as deadly as possible. The Polish army liked Scottish mercenaries because they were deemed to be very good musket men. So this lot are good shooters. It's going to cost you to come at that from the front. You might want to try to flow around it, but that all takes time. This one, you've got to get up the hill, do the same thing, and then get your ladders onto it.
Yes.
And they'll not be standing there letting you do it.
No.
Over here, I mean, there's not much. Now this is a thin screen of Polish peasant levies. If the Turks were to come at them in open ground, they'd be off.
Here, we'll come across this way to stop this lot.
Well, you see, you're good at this. Yeah, since he's thought of it, it's fairly obvious. What they're going to do is they're going to pile up their heavy cavalry here, and they're going to try to sweep in a sort of a right hook. The trouble is that this lot just flow about like lava all over the place, pelting everything with arrows.
But there doesn't seem to be much defence from this side onto these.
Much to stop them. No,
Yeah,
there's at the moment
really.
there's just
nothing.
Stuarts and some Polish gunners.
Yeah, okay.
This is an interesting thing. This is the nearest 17th century equivalent to a machine gun. It's a multi-barrel cannon. It fires things about the size of golf balls. What you do is you touch it off in the centre and it fires in successive pairs running outwards. Boom, 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 boom. Can be very effective at short range. The trouble is it takes forever to reload it.
Right, so
So it
once
tends
it's
to be a one-shot wonder.
Yeah, and once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
So they've got a big gun up here.
Yeah, they've got fortress guns in the redoubt, and the whole regiment is musket armed and they're good at it.
And this be
That's just a customs post,
right.
making an ideological statement, Jesus Christ and the King of Poland.
Okay.
And up yours, Allah. You know.
Yes, right.
And this is a wee civilian settlement. What you can tell about that is that it looks as though it's been deliberately de-roofed. You can't see inside,
No.
but which is one of the. But what you can see is that its roofs have been taken off. There's no smoke and there's no sign of movement.
No, it's completely empty. Apparently, anyway.
Yeah. That's where the troops normally, they're billeted in the barns and sheds. But when they brought up the reinforcements, when Stuarts came up to join them, they needed a tented encampment.
I've just been reading, and we've been discussing it quite a lot, a series of books by an American author. And it's at the present moment, so I think there's 11 books in the series. And the one I'm reading just now is about the Second World War battles. And it makes it very clear that one of the most important things is bringing up the supplies to the troops. How on earth do these guys get supplies?
Wagon trains.
So, not terribly easily, is
No,
it?
wagon trains and requisitioning from the local peasantry, but in this region
There's
the local
nothing,
peasantry
no.
is pretty thin. It's not a good place to live.
No.
The land's fine, but it's just too dangerous.
But also, I mean, they must have enormous problems with supplies as well, because there's so many of them.
The Turks were good at this.
Really?
The Turks had a whole logistical corps whose job was simply to move supplies. All the stuff that's talked about them in the popular imagination is rubbish. It's the usual ethnocentric, racist crap. They were the only army in the whole game that had a pension system for its regular troops. They had a medical corps, they had a supply service, and they brought bands. You've got a wee band there with the boss. They were one of the first to have bands to keep the lads going.
And this is early 1600s.
Yeah.
Quite amazing, really.
It's all nonsense. I mean, as always.
I hadn't noticed the band.
They're just behind. I'll show you them. There's only a few of them. Janissaries, and there's the band.
Right.
Pipes
I see them, yes.
and cymbals, and the drums are in here.
Yes, I see that.
And the rest is a cavalry reserve.
Right.
Mediums, heavies, and a few lights. Personally, under his personal command, he'll put them in wherever he thinks he needs them. But they're a reserve; they stay there for the moment. This lot never go. They're his personal escort and retinue.
And he doesn't move either,
No,
really, no.
officers have to come to him.
Yeah. Okay.
It won't come into this, but it's an uneasy relationship with the Khan. The Khan is an ally, not not a subordinate. And the Pasha asks the Khan to do things, but on the other hand, the Khan's eldest son is a permanent hostage in Constantinople.
So it has to do with
Against his good behaviour.
fascinating, really.
And remember, the Tartars' job is to shut this bridge,
Yes.
and good luck to them. They have a huge advantage in numbers, but that's it.
But not in firepower, really.
No,
And
they can bring them down, but whether they can bring them down fast enough is a moot point.
so that's the first job, to
Exploit success or bolster failure. 2 cavalry divisions to burst through the intervals.
right.
And not everybody has to move at once. You can stage it and phase it any way you like.
Okay. Well,
The only thing you can't do is change the orders you're given to the Khan, which is shut this down.
shut that down. Okay. So that's what we're aiming to do then.
Yeah. I'll show you how to. The rules that we're using were actually designed for the civil wars in England, which are quite different. But it gives the basic structure, and there's a lot of house rules that grew up over about 20 years of doing this Eastern stuff and reading the books on it. So I'll take you through that as it comes. The Tartars won't fight in blocks like that. Those are marching columns. They'll come in individual squadrons, 5 figures at a time. They'll just peel off to the front and look for gaps. And there are no penalties to movement. You don't have to spend any of your movement time turning with the Tartars. They just go in any damn direction they like. And they can shoot in 3/4 of the circle, if you like. The only thing they can't do is shoot to their right rear quarter, if you think about it. Most people are right-handed, so they hold the bow left, shoot right. You can cover your whole
but not,
left side,
not
you can cover your front right, but your right
No,
rear quarter
can't do
is
that.
a blind spot.
Okay.
And I'll give you a protractor so that if that situation's developing, you can tell where your blind spot
It's a
is.
fairly strange looking weapon here, isn't it?
It's not a weapon, it's a standard. It's a... If you spot things, this is just the way I like to do things. There's a distinction among the Tartars. These more ordered ones are the Crimean Tartars proper, who are actually settled. They're not steppe nomads anymore, although they fight in that tradition. This lot are the Nogai, who are from the mainland outside the Crimean Peninsula, and a lot of them are still pagans.
That looks like almost a pagan standard.
Yeah, all 3 are. I've got this lot have of course got Islamic heraldry.
Yes.
They're all sons of the Prophet.
But not necessarily.
But not necessarily that. And the deal was this. Okay, you don't want to be Muslims. You can stay with your damned heresies, but you will always be in front.
Right. So they're cannon fodder to some extent.
Yeah. That's the deal. You get religious toleration in return for being at the front. Right, any questions?
No, we'll find out more as we go along, I think.
I will stop now, advise you. And look, we'll never get through this today.
No, that's fine.
We'll just get
started and see how we go on.
Right, okay, so the Turkish army has marched up, it's deployed, and the drums have started. I won't bore you with the music score, but they're now playing their specific attack march, and they've started forward. And the action opens with the defence declaring itself with an artillery salvo. Yep. So here we go. Now you've got a number of figures doing it, their rating and the result.
Okay, well,
I'll take you through that.
Yes, just as we go along.
You'll need these casualties. You'll notice the figures are multiply based.
Yeah.
If that unit gets one figure's worth of losses inflicted on it, you put that on.
Same as before.
Yeah, until you get 3 and then you rip off a base. Yeah, right.
So I need a wee thing of rings and
Yeah, and you'll need these markers as well. I'll explain those to you as you go.
That's once they've done something, you put them up.
That's it, that's what I think.
And do we need dice then?
And you've got a box of dice, which is here, and a measuring tape.
Okay.
Right, so we start with my artillery. Polish artillery. Be conventional and start from the right. Okay, first battery. There's light guns mounted in this wagon here, but take it from me, they're not within range yet. So it's only the big guns, and they'll fire into this division of Tartars. The range is 34 inches the maximum range for these guns is 48, so the morning mist has actually covered you until you got to there. They could have been firing from there, but Pasha's a wise old dog and he moved forward as far as he could get before the mist lifted.
Right.
So here we go. Range is 34, which is within long range, and where's my dice? I roll one of these, and I need to hit. Yeah, I need a 6 to hit at that range. Alright. Yeah, I need a 6. No. Second battery fires. At this lot, they also need a 6. No. Third battery fires into these Marines skirmishers. They're from the Turkish Black Sea Fleet. Crossbows. Better on ships. They need a 6. They don't get anything. Those skirmishers needing a 6. So a lot of noise.
A lot of noise and no casualties.
Yeah, nothing. Right, now it's movement. Right, if you tell me who you want to move and I'll tell you what you can do with them. You can do that, or you can do it as a wave, the first one from each of the three.
Right, well, okay, let's do that then.
Right, they're the fastest cavalry on the table. They can do 10 inches.
Right, okay.
So you can just move them 10 inches straight forward if you want.
Okay.
And you could move the second one 5 inches straight forward
Right.
to act in their support.
So there's 10 inches. So we can move these ones to here.
Move the supports up 5. And the rest wait as a reserve if you like.
Right.
And you can do that along the line.
Here as well.
Yeah, and the commander of the 3 blocks, he'll fall back a bit just to keep. He does have a role to play, but he doesn't want to get himself killed.
Right. So these ones are going to go
Yeah,
labelled with
they
this.
conform to that. So all the Poles are checking their armour now, making sure the shields are in place. There's going to be a hail of arrows shortly.
And these stay where they are, or do they move up as well?
It's best to keep a decent interval.
Right,
I usually leave 5 inches between the waves, so they won't move until next time.
And this one can move as well.
Yeah.
And
He just sits himself somewhere wherever he likes. He's in command of those first 3 divisions. Right. Okay. Not normal for them, but they get it because they're in column. They're not trying to maintain a battle formation.
so they're off the bridge.
So they're coming off the bridge.
In behind the protected.
Yeah. This one's providing the cover. This is our religious contingent. There's the Holy Father scheme.
Holy Father.
Come on lads, just a bunch of heretic riffraffs and their first cousins are sheep. Yeah, well alright, we'll believe that, why not?
Okay, so that's my turn over.
No, it's not, that's
it's
just
not.
there. What are you going
Oh,
to do?
I'm going to do all of that's in one turn.
Everything.
Everything.
And my movement's simultaneous.
Well, we're just going to move them all forward then, aren't we?
Right, well your skirmishers go first from here if you want. They can go 5. They're a bit faster than European foot. No, sorry, your skirmishers move 6.
6 inches.
Yeah. Their problem is that their bows have a shorter range than the defenders' muskets.
And how about the ones behind then? Do they move 3 forward?
They move 5.
Oh, 5, so they're quite up close to them.
Yeah. Or up to 5. You can always go. Tell you how this is a beauty. We had to make this up completely. We knew they had them, and one manufacturer produced the figures.
Really?
But we had to make our own rules for them.
Huh. And how these ones can come up a bit?
They're the skirmishers for the next wave, so
They'll leave them.
you know, they can
They
come
can
on
go
5. They'll probably conform to those behind them. But you don't want them getting tangled up with each other as well.
No. So, right.
He commands, the big fella commands the whole division.
Does he go with them then?
Yeah, they'll just maintain the formation they're in, and they move up behind. The Janissary Corps probably wouldn't move yet, but it's up to you. You can do the same with your other assault division, but remember it's got to swing a bit to its left.
This one.
That one, that assault division's got to swing a bit to its left. No, these.
These ones?
Yeah, because they're going to attack
Yes.
that.
Right.
So the way you do that is the outer edge moves its maximum distance.
Which is 6.
Yeah, and the whole thing sort of wheels. Meanwhile, other things are happening on this side.
Forward.
Yeah, they can fall.
The 2. Okay.
Right. Then you've got to decide what you're going to do with your 2 cavalry divisions.
This one.
Yeah, remember their job. Now this is where the deployment, they had to come on blind. They didn't know exactly what they were up against. They knew it was 2 redoubts, but they didn't know exactly the positions, and they came up in the morning mist. So they're now actually out of place, this cavalry division, because their job is to clear this, smash through here. So what?
So this
Yeah.
job is to attack that,
Yeah.
and that job is
Yeah.
to, so they're going to
Yeah.
cross over each
Yeah.
other. That's difficult, is it not?
It is. The cavalry need to get their skates on, and the division commander here probably has to hold his infantry back a bit,
Yeah.
to let them through. Cavalry can move at 10 inches,
10 inches.
and the
this
rest
is
move
light.
at 8. Now, the lights are the 4 single squadrons there, where you're just under your hand now. No, these ones. That one and the 3 in front of it,
They can move,
and the other.
and that one. All
Yeah,
of
they're
those.
all light cavalry.
They can move 10,
10 inches. Yeah.
And we'll turn them round a wee bit.
Yep.
And these ones can go 8.
Yep. No, they can do 10.
Well,
Well,
they-
yeah, they can close.
They can close
Their
up.
maximum is 10. They can close up as well.
And they're wheeling round slightly to get in front of the
Yeah.
other guys, the walking ones.
Yeah.
Right.
He's sent a
Is
courier
that his-
across. That's fine.
I've moved those ones. Haven't I?
Yes, you've
Yes.
done them.
Done them.
Your medium and heavy cavalry have still got a big enough gap to come forward if they want to.
This.
That whole column. They can move 8.
Okay, so that's
I'll help you when they reach the middle of the table.
Yes, And this lot too.
Yep. They're heavies, so their maximum is 6. Their horses are carrying a lot of weight.
Right.
And they don't know more
But
than they
these-
can see about this.
This lot are trying to deal with
They're
it.
trying to probe it.
So these can go how far forward?
It's the same sort of thing. The light cavalry on the flank can do 10. That's out to your right, the ones most to your right, those 4 units there can do 10 inches.
All of these.
The whole column, all 4 of them could do 10 inches going forward. That's all that happens there.
And how about this? This one's they move as well.
Yes, and it's 8 and 8 for the first 2 units, and then 6 for the one at the back. They're heavies as well. Tuck Wogs getting ready to run will be the headline.
Not altogether accurate, I think.
No.
So all of these are.
Occasional random
Yeah,
coincident collisions with the truth. They're all lights, those. And who else then? Oh yes, that's right. Don't forget this is crucial. On the element,
One.
and they would move 5 inches into the woods.
Right.
Just take that one and we'll
Okay.
deem the rest to be conforming to it.
Okay, right. Right.
And is that? Oh no, it's not. The last touch.
I think that's me.
Right, well you better have a look at what's happening on this side then and see what you make of that.
Oh.
Light cavalry.
Right. Right.
Light cavalry are good, but they can't stop assault troops.
That makes it a little bit different, doesn't it?
More solid. Couple of squadrons of light cavalry fronting the poor
Not a
old
lot
foot
happening over
sloggers.
that side yet.
But it's all, and it's so frustrating for the Pasha because he almost made it. There's another brigade behind.
I think that's cheating, Alistair. You suddenly get double the number of forces you had at this time. That's me. That's my turnover, isn't it?
Right, that's the movement phase of
Did
the
I put
turn.
any of the wee markers on this or not?
And have I forgotten anything? Just a sec. No, I haven't.
I mean, do we need to put these down?
Not yet,
Not
no.
yet? Oh, okay. Right.
Right, so that's ask as a result of that.
No, because it's not. They're not. None of these guys are within range of firing anything. Really.
No, it's still only artillery.
That's right.
Right, apropos of that, the Polish artillery being their only real advantage. We'll start from the left this time. 24 is the critical range, but they're not quite within it, so it's still a 6. I'm demolishing my own fortifications here. That won't help. No. At the Marines in red. No. No. At the first squadron of Tartars. Ah, they've come down a range bracket. So 4 or better will hit them now. But not a 1. Tell these are garrison troops. Sitting doing nothing, collecting their pay for years. Marginal, so the house rule is always that marginal is the less advantageous, so that's still long range. No,
Nobody's going to see.
but the light artillery is probably within range now. Yes. So that's a 4 or better. First hit. Right, so this is how we work this out. Light guns, I roll another die now to see how much damage it does, and I run along the line for light guns. I roll a one figure, so you need one ring on this one. Boom, first blood, and that's it. It's not very dramatic, is it?
Not yet, no.
No.
Could get quite dramatic, I think.
I hope so. These guns have got to do the business, or this defence will not hold at all.
Right, so it's me again.
That's move 1 finished, because there's no hand strokes and no small arms fire.
Right. So,
Right, now, tell me this, because this is a wrinkle in the rules that we built in for realism. If you were a garrison commander in the quiet times when there was no problem, you've got this featureless plain in front of you. What would you do to help your infantry to maximise the effect of their fire if and when they're attacked? So they open fire at the right time. Modern armies still do it. Came up with it one night.
right.
You know, garrisons will put out range markers, won't they? How do you do that? Well, you do it in a way that the other side won't necessarily see
Won't
it.
see it. So the point of that is to get your guys onto these markers
At the right moment,
at the right moment.
so they don't waste ammunition.
Yeah.
So for example, there's a range marker. Now what's that going to be? Clearly it's not the big guns, they've been firing already. So what must that be for? That must be for the muskets. So there's maximum musket range. You're close enough now to see this post sticking up out of the ground. And of course somebody goes past, gives it a swipe with his sabre, but it's done its job by then. Right.
With the extra troops that have appeared from nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's start at this end then.
Now, bow range for these short horse bows is 12 inches. Cavalry, medium and heavy cavalry, can charge 16. So wait a minute, this suddenly sounds like a suicide mission. You can't get a shot at them until they can come at you. Well, the trick is that these are regular troops who have to keep formation and follow specific orders. These are irregular warriors. What will happen is they'll come up to get within 12, loose off their arrows, and a special rule, if mine come at them in the next turn, they can evade, they can scoot.
Go back.
Yeah, they don't have to. Medium and heavy cavalry can't.
No.
They're the same disciplined troops as mine, but this lot will just on offski. So you can dash up, loose off your arrows, and if mine come at you, you can scarper.
But this shot, if they go up close but they don't actually fire anything, this
Well,
shot,
if they can get within 12 inches, they can do it. They are also unique in that they can move and shoot.
right, okay, so how far can these ones move in one go? 10 inches
They can
again?
move 10.
So if they move to there,
Then you haven't
Yeah.
got range mark, and oh no, you're not allowed to do that. And they do have bows. If you look at the models, they
yeah,
have
they
bows.
do have, right, 10 inches from the figure to there.
At the edge of the base.
I think they could probably have a shot at that.
Right, get them up there, and when we get
And I
to
can turn them round into it as well, can't
yes,
I?
that's right. As long as nobody moves more than 10,
Right.
you can spin them around any way you like. If you end up in a situation where you've got small spaces you want to go through, not only have they got the evade move, you can also do that without penalty. So you can get them through narrower gaps.
Right.
They're
It's
not
quite a
bothered
big
about
gap just now, so, and these ones can go 5 inches, is that
Well,
correct?
no, they can go 10 as well.
Oh,
It's
they
just
can
a
go
question
10
of
as well, right, okay.
keeping intervals so that they don't get
That's
overrun
still-
if the other
that's
ones
still
in front come
right.
back. Because these are proper lances which outreach those speeds
These are
by
lances,
about a
though.
yard. Those are lances. It's difficult to tell sometimes.
So these would be better not actually moving to that distance.
Well, it depends what you want to do. You might want them to sacrifice themselves just to cause chaos. But what you need to do is break these brigades up. You don't want them coming at you in perfect formation.
Move them to that distance, because that's not going to be within firing distance anyway of the
No.
of these. And I think these ones are going to move up too. They can go 10 inches as well, can they?
Yes.
Straight on then.
What you've got to be prepared for is that the Panzern, they have bows as well. And they also have pistols.
Right, so their firing range is what, 12 inches?
Same with the bows, yeah.
Same with the bows.
Yeah.
And that's within firing range if I move them to
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So we don't need to move them 10 inches though?
No,
No.
up to.
So up to.
Right, so I'll get on with my moves.
And these are the long lances. So they can do
They can fight them,
fight.
but they're on smaller horses and they haven't got armour.
No. And this lot here, they've got bows.
They're just the boss and his immediate
No,
bodyguard.
we'll
They
just
won't
leave them
mix
where
it
they are then,
voluntarily.
Okay, I'll come down a bit too.
I've been frontier actions before, but not this one. They're always different. And some of them, they've fought all the historical battles of the period as well.
Do your friends that you used to play with, do they still play with
Oh yeah,
other people?
yeah. They found a third bloke, they found a replacement for me. It took them 8 years. But they found a fellow we used to know years ago called Bob, who's just retired. So it's back to being a gang of 3.
I can't quite
Crossbows.
Crossbows, so what's the range of the crossbow
12.
then?
The naval troops, that's why they've
Right.
got crossbows. They're just handy.
And they
on
can
ships.
move 10 inches
They
then?
can move 10, they're serving as skirmishers.
Right, so they're going to be facing heavy horse here.
Those are light cavalry, but it's not good for skirmishers to tangle with cavalry, but sometimes it's unavoidable. Right, things are going on here, but I'll explain that shortly. And if you're reaching the limits of reach,
Yes, I
I'll give
think-
you a hand with that as well.
Yes. Now, did you say that the guy in the camel, he can move too? He's bows and arrows, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he can move like light cavalry.
Yes.
He's going to fire
He
rockets.
can move up to there.
He's an absolute bloody pest.
Is he?
Yeah. We had to write a set of rules for him, but he's a bloody nuisance.
Certainly a variety of weapons, isn't there? Huge variety. Crossbows, bows and arrows, short spears, long spears.
Yeah. The Turks had some really exotic firearms. You'd hardly believe it, but you know, in this period they had grenade throwers.
Really.
You know, guns that lobbed grenades. You know, like small mortars.
And what did they make the grenades of?
Either thick glass filled with gunpowder or thin iron.
Right.
Shrapnel grenades. Poof.
Right, I think that's everybody in this section moved. So I'm going to do a bit more here.
The glass ones were apparently more reliable, but they were also more expensive. That's their skirmishers.
Right, and they can
First
do
line.
10 inches as well.
Yeah, you could break them down into. Shall I show you how I would
Yeah,
do it this time?
okay.
Because that's a special situation. I would break the skirmishers down. That can come off now. It's not telling you anything anymore, is it? Break the skirmishers down into 2 lines of 6, like that. skirmishers get a bit of freedom of action in what they do, and then the lads can come on in a heavy column behind them,
Right.
like that,
Okay.
and he stays up close with his entourage and with your religious advisor. To move them up a bit so they haven't got so far to come when you decide what you're going to do with them.
Okay. Right, so these people over here, they can also move 10 inches.
Yeah, shall I help?
Yeah, that's
Alright,
good.
your full move?
Yes.
10. An old Mustafa match. You can come up here with them because he's about to become pestilential.
These are quite remarkable trousers, these ones have got.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they? Baggy for coolness.
Yeah.
In winter campaigns, they stuffed them with wool.
Did
You know, just woolen fleeces, just stuffed them. Right, best to keep the units distinguished.
Alright,
1,
okay.
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3,
4.
4.
Right. And then this.
That's the skirmishers for the next wave.
Right, we'll leave them beside. Just now. Now. And these can wheel round, can't they?
They can.
But
Remember the cavalry division's job is to force this gap.
this through, right, so we need to put that straight through then, don't we?
Yeah. However,
And then we've got other people behind hiding. We've got other people hiding in here.
yes, I mean that's a wee freebie from
Yes.
an intelligence point of view. You wouldn't really know they were there.
No, you wouldn't.
This is a bit unusual. These are not Poles at all. Neither are the mercenaries.
And they've all got white horses.
Yes, this is an
So they're
elite
Austrians.
regiment.
Hold their hands up.
The Austrian heavy cavalry.
On white horses, of course they would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Imperial Austrian cavalry lent by the emperor to his ally, the King of Poland, because he hasn't actually declared war on the Sultan. So these are classified legally as household troops, which is a loophole. And there they are. Regiments Kaiser Ferdinand and Haraucourt.
And they can now see these there.
Yep,
Right, well I think they have to go straight forward then.
yep. Right, let me assist you. If you mark it out and push them
There.
towards me, so it's there. Alright. You'll step to the side.
Yeah.
And they get to about there. And the second squadron comes up right behind them. When it comes to attacking, they'll attack in 2 waves, but at the
Right.
moment they move as one body.
And this thought too.
And they conform, yeah, they conform to that. And then the heavies do the same, but a bit slower.
And these as well.
Yeah, remember they only move 6.
Alright, so.
They're the ones whose horses are working hard. Keep them closed up tight. The whole heavy cavalry are most effective if they're closed up tight. The most common injury was neither sword cuts nor bullet wounds. The most common injury was twisted and dislocated knees
So they fell off
from those around them, you know, thumping together.
There's that.
That's it.
And this.
They're the light cavalry, they can do 10.
Right.
Still
So
don't know
this-
if there's anything in the woods.
This fellow here is, what's he doing?
He's the commander of this whole cavalry
Oh, the
division.
whole thing, so they can move up behind him,
Yes, in fact he'll start to drop back a bit because he's got to maintain
but they can
command.
go
They
beyond
can
him.
come carrying on
Mhm.
up to about there if you want.
Right, okay.
Right.
These look quite fearsome guys in the stripy uniforms.
Yeah. Well, they're dead, aren't they? In the much later Turkish siege of Vienna in 1683, the Turkish cavalry were just everywhere for 20 miles around Vienna. Nobody could move. One commentator describes them as flowing lava-like across the country.
Terrifying times, really.
Oh yeah.
Right, and that's it.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Okay, so your turn now. Shooting them again.
Yeah. Right. Oh, gosh.
They're certainly all moving, aren't they?
Yeah. We've almost got a line of battle now.
Yes.
But there's just not enough depth to it. Guns, the galloper guns up, and put them behind a barricade at the end of the street.
Oh, right, okay.
But they've just done that. It's taken them the whole move to get in place and deploy.
Right.
So although they're within range, they can't fire.
This time.
Yeah, this time.
Okay.
So the first artillery is from here with Stuarts. Jeez. Spot for choice. Yeah, 4 or better to hit those spies. It's a hit. Right, now that's a heavy gun, not a light gun. Come on, we need this to do some execution. Right. Artillery damage chart. There we go. 2. Rolls 2. 1. Right, you need 1 ring on these redcoat cavalry. I think these bloody gunners have been overpaid. Certainly the lads in Stuart's think so. Right, clear these bloody Marines, come on. 4 no, they're open order, so 5. It would be a 4 for range, but because they're open order skirmishers, single line of figures, it needs a 5 that are a bit harder to hit. No good. Okay. No. Stick to the original target. 4. Hit. Damage. 6. So that's a morale test. And roll again for the number of figures. Another 6. Three, right, so that really ploughed through them. You lose 3 from them, and you have to do a morale test on the survivors. You've got a couple of trays up here for losses, Margaret. If you could just put anybody on a horse on one and anybody on foot on the other.
So
right,
what are we about to do for the
morale test. All Tartars, apart from the nobles, count raw as their morale class, which is a -1. So you roll on the morale chart at -1, and if I can find it, I'll tell you how it works. I'm not seeing it. It's a wee while since I've done this. Talk among yourselves. Why can't I see this? Die, please, Margaret.
One of these?
Yeah, and high is good for your point of view.
5.
So 5 is 4 because they're raw, and 4 or over is no effect.
So they're standing.
Yeah, they're going to keep at it.
Okay.
Bloody sods, brave buggers. Right. Alright, smash them up. 4 or better. Missed. Right, that's enfilade. That's down the flank, which is nasty. So it's basically a 4, but because it's enfilade, it's 3 or better to hit them. Hit. Roll for effect. 4. So a 4. Artillery damage chart. 4 for a light gun. 1. So I lose 1, which is another 1.
Is there a 2
So
on that?
that comes off, and there
Yes,
you go.
the 2.
Now, hey, look at that. Even without trying, I'm playing in character here. These bloody militia haven't put out range markers for themselves. Lazy sods. So they fire a volley.
So who's firing this time?
This is this peasant militia behind the...
Right, they've just done that, have they?
No, that was this.
Oh, I
that
see,
was
right,
the
okay. So
artillery.
this is another lot that I'm doing.
Yeah, so they're well within range. It's long range. They're poor shooters, so the fire factor is 2. It's their first volley, which is usually better loaded than all the subsequent ones, so that gets them a +1. That's 3, but it's long range, takes it down to 2. There's 8 of them, so it's 8 at 2 on the firing chart, which means I need a 4 or better to have any effect. And they get it, that's another 1. So the captain turns around and says smugly, "Who needs range markers?" Can we muster any more fire? Their basic is 3. First volley makes it 4. Long range makes it 3. 10 at 3 from the redoubt. 10 at 3 gets them 1 and no morale test. So this first unit loses 1 to musketry. Now, cool as cucumber, the old veterans of Stuart's. Watch them come past and cut down their range markers, and then the whole regiment fires at them. It's 15 inches, which makes it long range, which is -1. It's an open order target, which makes it -2. But they're very good shooters, so their basic is 4, and it's their first volley, which is another 1, so that makes them 24 at 3. They fire 24 at 3, which is 2.5. 2 and a 5 or more gets them a 3rd. Oh, look at that!
6.
Perfect volley, 3 and a test. Right, so they
Nice.
blow away a quarter of them, and that inflicts a morale test at -1, so it's -1 off whatever you roll, because they're raw troops. 2 and 2 is shaken. Right, now what you need, right, now that puts certain limitations on them. Shaken, they can only move half.
Right.
They must follow up in combat, which means their command and control's breaking down, but they don't mix it in combat anyway, so that doesn't apply. And they can do a reform test to gain it to get back to normal, but they need to have the general with them to do that, so they can't do that at the moment. So basically they're reduced to half movement.
So they can move 5 inches
Yeah.
instead of 10.
Yeah. Well done, Stuarts. That's what we pay you for.
Right.
And
About your secret gun over this.
it only got there this time, didn't it? So it can't.
Can't fire.
No, they're still loading.
And your white horse guys, can they do anything?
No,
else?
no.
They can't even move forward.
They don't want to.
Oh, they don't want.
We don't want to push the issue here.
Right. Okay.
I'll give you a clue why. The dust is settling.
And there's a whole lot more guys.
No, the dust
No.
is
So
settling.
there's nobody else coming.
Nobody
That's
else
it.
behind
That's
them.
them.
That's it.
Right.
That is the weak point.
Okay.
That's a freebie as well.
So you've got pretty much all the troops you're going to get.
Have I got everybody we're going to get? Yes,
Okay.
that's another freebie. You must have a spy.
That's that. So, is it my turn again?
It's
Or have you got
next
another shot
turn.
to get?
No, I've got nothing else to
Nothing
shoot
else
with.
to do. Right, okay.
So it's movement again. And this is one of the simple subtleties of this game. Supposing I wanted to charge here, I would put down that with the blank side up, and that could actually be any one of 3 instructions, including the other side being blank, which would be nothing. It would be a bluff, because you would assume that they were going to come at you, but in fact they weren't, because a tactic of the day was to go through the preparations for a charge and then just stop.
Just not do it.
And sometimes it worked and they would scatter back.
Right.
But I'm not putting down any marker, they're just sitting in their ranks at the moment. The Tartars can charge without, it's called in the rules an intention.
Right.
And it's an attempt to introduce a subtlety of how experienced officers would observe what was going on the other side.
And it's to scare off the...
Yeah, and it's a bluff sometimes to scare off the others. But nothing's happening here, so it's movement again. Tartars don't need intentions. Tartars can just do what they like when they like. The warrior.
You're moving yours, are you?
Yeah, and you move yours too.
Oh, as well.
Yeah.
Right, so they can all move the 10 inches forward again.
They can.
But do they really want to?
Well, the range for shooting these bows only gets better. The factor for shooting these bows only gets better if you come down to 6 inches or 3 inches. You can start to shoot at 12, but it's not as good. If you get in closer, it's more difficult to get away if mine come at you. It's all a question of calculations. But they have their orders. Their orders are to try to shut this bridge, which is looking a rather more problematic now.
It is, isn't it?
Come on, get off there. Get out of there.
These are the archers here, aren't they? This one. So we'll move them forward.
If you're in any doubt of what they've got, just ask me, because some of them have bows and some of them don't. It's just as per
I
models.
can't quite see. I think these have got bows and arrows.
Let me see. Yes, they're
So
all
they're going
bows.
to move. They're going to move forward.
That's right, they can move through
Right.
them as well. That's another advantage the Tartars have. You can just move through them.
Move the horses through them.
Yeah, just move as if they weren't there.
Oh right. Okay. So and we could move them 10 inches then.
Yeah.
The horses.
What you could even do is pull them back
Yes.
and
move
replace them.
And these have got, what have these got? These have got lances.
They've got short spears.
Short spears,
which
well,
are
they're not so good.
pretty
These
much
ones,
useless.
yes,
Have they
these
got
ones are
bows?
better. No, I don't think so.
They have actually.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's move them ahead of.
Right, so you want to pull this remnant back?
Yes,
Bring them back 10 to about there, facing the other way.
Here.
Facing that way.
Okay. And we'll
And
move these forward then,
Yeah.
because these have all got bows. So, oh, there's a,
right, just push them towards me, and it was about there, wasn't it? Yeah, right there. Okay.
as well.
Right, you're gonna go the whole distance?
Well, they'll need to figure if you're going to use lances, aren't they?
They've got to come to contact.
Yes, so yes, they have to go forward.
Who are they going for? The hussars or the
The
panzerni?
panzerni.
Right.
So we'll turn them around a wee bit.
Whoa, here they come. They drop back a bit. There is a reason to drop back a bit. It's good practice.
Now these, I think, can we swing them round? What have they got? They've got short spears.
They've got the short spears and no bows.
no bows, so they're not much use for anything, really, are they?
They're quite good to fight other light cavalry, but there aren't any here.
No, no. And they're not much use against these either,
No.
are they? So,
They've got a bum ticket.
right. And this lot, they've got...
They're the same, all right,
They're
all
the
the way
same.
through. Oh no, I tell a
Oh,
lie.
what
They've got bows, and they haven't.
Okay. Right,
So the next lot have got bows.
right, well let's bring them up then.
What about this battered one? Do you want to
No, we're
leave it
going
or
to
bring
move
it
that
back?
back, I think. And we'll move them up to level with them,
Yeah, right.
facing the other way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
up a bit.
yeah. Right. Okay.
He put himself there. His job, nobody has routed yet. They've fallen back voluntarily.
Yes,
His job is to gather up those that come back and reform them into.
right, so
Squadrons.
eventually we can bring them back to...
Yeah.
They don't need to just move 10 inches at a time if they're falling back, do they?
They can move up to 10, but they don't have to move
Right,
anything.
No, they don't have to. Now, I can't quite see what they've got.
Which ones do you mean?
Arrows.
Oh,
They should be coming up a bit now.
and those are your elites, those are your nobles. They've got lance, bow,
They've got everything.
and some chainmail armour.
Well, we should probably move them up too, shouldn't we?
Well, that's up to the Khan, so yes, that's up to you.
Well, let's move these two first of all and see how we go in with that.
Right, we'll take those tapes off. They're not serving any purpose. When we've done this movement phase, we'll go and get some lunch.
Okay.
That's it. Move them en masse if you can. Keep a wee gap between the divisions. That-
Is that all right?
yeah, that's it.
Right. Yeah. We'll leave these back just now. I think.
Yeah.
Now here, they're riding straight into the big gun, aren't they?
Well, their job is to come through here, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't think my foot are going to get much further forward. Because you see, the Polish foot can't move and fire.
Right.
It's one or t'other.
But these are the same. But then they-
No, no, yours can move and fire.
So
All-
the ones
all
with
of
the bows
yours.
and arrows could actually be firing now.
If they're within range.
Right.
12 inches,
How about
remember,
these?
all
Are
bows.
they in range? I doubt it.
Well, you'd have to say. But, I mean, there's no ammunition limitation, so you could just say shoot, and they would be within.
And we can do that just now.
Yes, you
Okay,
can.
let's do that then.
Right, well that's where we'll pick it up after
Right,
lunch.
Okay.
With the shooting phase. Is there any more movement you want to
Yes, I think so. I think these.
Coming forward?
Yes, coming forward again.
do? Right, the full bit.
Yep.
Very bold. Right.
And these again too.
Right, but they don't move so fast, remember.
No, they move only 5 or 6 inches.
They move 5, yeah.
Five.
Oh, I moved them 10, didn't I? Should be
You did.
6.
Right. They can go to the, just to the edge of the road.
Yeah, right. They are the worst troops in your army. They're forced Christian Balkan subjects. They don't trust them with firearms, and they give them only old spears.
So not much use for anything. Do
They're cannon fodder.
and these have got crossbows.
The Balkan levies will melt away. You wait and see.
These ones.
They don't like it up them.
Right, okay, so we can move them as well in the meantime.
Yeah,
Just up behind them.
they're the skirmishers for the next wave.
Right.
Are your mad heads coming on?
Yes, they are.
I'll get it, whatever it is.
It's the protractor.
Alright. Don't hurt yourself.
No, there we are. That's it. Yes, I think we're going to get these ones out of here.
Right, well the skirmishers precede them, and the skirmishers can do 6 inches.
Okay, so they can probably move level with this
Yeah,
box here.
yeah. An unwary gamer in your situation would say, all right, we'll burn this tower. But of course all that does in this situation is create an obstacle in the middle of your advance.
They can move forward by
Yeah.
6 inches as well.
5. They're regular infantry. Oh, there's those mad beggars.
How do we get these can be back?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Now, these ones are not quite so keen because they've got,
They got shot up.
yeah,
They'll move half if you want them to. They'll move, I've been saying 10, they'll move 3 inches, half of 6 for skirmishers. Sorry.
I'll leave them where they are just now and move this bunch
Right,
up.
okay. So you're coming straight forward with the cavalry?
Yes.
Right, well, that's 8. 8. And you can put the casualty on the rear squadron, they would fill forward
Okay.
to maintain the front line.
And the
And what about your light cavalry?
these, no, that's
Oh,
the
these
heavy
ones.
cavalry. Yes, these are going to move forward too.
Right, they're going to come straight forward.
Yes, because they haven't as yet seen the guns and the
Right, I haven't seen anything really, have they?
Yeah, no.
All they've seen is a bit of movement. Come on lads, that's the orders. And he's taking up his position at the back to catch any that come back. Oh right, yes.
Did we move the heavy horse now as well?
They can move 6.
6, I think we'll do that then because they're all.
They've got to spare their horses a bit.
Right, and one more lot, we'll move this way.
Right, they can come up to about
But
here.
these,
Nothing to report.
no, and these are actually
these are
in
all
here as well.
conforming, yeah.
Right, I think that's it for now.
Right, well that's it, it's lunch then. And then we start with a firing phase.
Right.
Ooh, the house rule is they can fire ball shot, solid ball shot, over the heads of their own foot because they're higher, but they can't fire grape shot, they can't fire canister overhead.
Right.
So if they were going to fire, if they were going to turn these into giant shotguns, then Stuarts would have to get out of the way.
Oh, I see, right, so that makes it a bit more difficult probably.
Yeah.
But really, there aren't too many of this lot have, well these lots seem to have guns, but there aren't many.
They're
of
all shooters.
Shooters.
They're hand weapons.
So just that.
They're all hand weapons. And they're all shooters.
So these are shooters. Yes, I see the guns now.
And your skirmishers are shooters as well, of course.
Right. So what's the range of their guns then?
Less than ours.
Yes.
12. They use light arquebuses rather than heavy European muskets. They didn't like them because they thought it made them too slow.
Right. Well, they're moving fairly quickly, I think. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think if I was a Polish commander, I would be feeling the pressure now.
Yes.
Fine. Who's next? Out of range. Your Marines here could probably take a poke at these light cavalry.
Okay. So, what do we need for that?
Well, the rules don't say this. You could concentrate them all against one target, but it seems to me if we're looking at this as a real situation, these two squadrons present equal threats to them, so they'd probably shoot at both of them. So would you like to do half and half or all at one?
Half and half.
Right, so you've got 6 at 3. Long range doesn't apply to crossbow. And they are unarmoured in the majority. So 6 at 3. You might get something with this, that's a wee bit more meaty. 4 will do it, 4 or better will do it.
3?
No.
Not really.
And the same again.
Same.
4 again, you need.
1.
No. Right, well these Kosatsky don't have bows. And most of them only have pistols, so they will be shooting back. Coming along here, the deadly Stuarts are going to shoot. They're still out of range, your fellas. There's 12 inches, it falls short. Stuarts are all in, so you're going to get 24 of them at 4. But long range 3 and open order 2. 24 at 2 is 1.4, so I get 1, and I say point but it's not a decimal point, it's 1 casualty, and a 4 or better gets a second one. 3, so it's 1 casualty on them. From there, fire from their redoubt. Right, well the dragoons and the light artillery are ready to shoot. You've got this lot of funny. One's got a bow, but you go by the majority, so the 4 haven't, so no, they haven't got any firearm, any distance weapons to speak of.
There's nothing they can do.
There's nothing they can do. My dragoons will fire. There's 5 in each building, so there's 10 of them. It's 10 at 3. First volley 4. It's under a foot, so it's standard range. 10 at 4. 1.5. That gets 1. And then I've also got the light gun here. What's its canister? Which is range for canister? Under 6 it needs to be, but it's not under 6, so they fire ball. And they get a 2, that isn't going to be enough. No, that's no good. Okay, working back along here. Is there anybody else to shoot?
There's your guys in the...
Yeah, there's the peasant militia over there.
They're still to shoot, I think.
And has my artillery hasn't fired in this
No.
turn, has it? Right,
No.
so we'll start on the other end. Come on, we really need to be doing. What we got there? It's 4 or better. That's a hit.
Right.
Roll for damage. That's a morale test. That was another 6. Roll for damage. 5. So it's 2 and a morale test.
Right.
And they're a -1 for the morale test.
What do I do for a morale test?
You roll an ordinary d6 and I'll tell you the outcome. Five, that's good. You pass.
So I'll get 2.
So they get shot up, but they're not bothered by it. They didn't like
Oh,
those
you don't need,
fellas.
do you want that?
No, no, that's alright. Well done, well done. Right, the big gun. 16, so that's too much for a canister, even for a big gun, I think. Artillery firing. Grape 6 inches, yeah, that's no good. Right, so that'll be a 4 or better. Be handy if I brought the die with me. No. Garrison gunners. What can you do with that? Done it. Yeah. They've got out of arc.
So you can't reach them.
No, jamming
For the angle.
buttons. Yeah.
And these ones are too far away then for your gun.
Well, no, they're all right. We'll fire into this slot. Straight. 4 required. Pitiful, pitiful. They'll fire at the cavalry, can they? No, they can't. They can reach the green cavalry route the Reds have got out of arc. Right, so that's a 4 or better. Sheepers, creepers. That deep sinking feeling. Right, the light artillery with the dragoons will fire straight to its front. That needs a 4 as well.
Right.
See how restrained I am?
Okay, so our next
turn.
moving on then.
So it's movement.
Okay, mine.
You can still move yours, yeah. Forward or back.
Well, I mean, they've come along with these great big lance things. They've got to get into the battle now.
Yeah,
So they can move right up next to them.
they can.
Let's do that.
Right, okay, well in that case I declare that is a charge. So we meet halfway.
I meet halfway. Right, okay.
5 to 5, except minor.
And this will come up as well too.
They would do well to not get too close.
Right, how about that then?
Yeah, and in fact, tactically the best thing to do is to swing out to one side or the other. There isn't a good side though.
No, there isn't.
But swing out to one side or the other so that if they break, they don't
can
come
come
through
back.
them. Yeah,
How about that?
that's it. Right, what are you going to do with the next slot? Mention. Is it real or is it fake?
What weapons have they got? I can't actually see.
They've got bows, bows and cheap sabres.
Well, I'm just going to leave them there then. If they've got bows, they can use them if you're charging.
Right. They've already shot in this turn, remember? You only get to shoot once in a turn.
Oh, right. I thought this was another turn.
Oh no, I beg your pardon, it is another turn. It
Yes,
is another
so
turn,
they can actually fire their,
Yeah,
their
yeah.
arrows. Right, okay.
Right, well in that
leave
case,
them
that's
there.
a charge.
Right, and we'll let them charge into the
Do
arrows.
you want to stand or do you want to run?
No, we're going to stand and fight with the arrows.
Right,
Bows
okay.
and arrows.
Right, first of all you roll for range. Starting
Right.
from 10, which is within long range, so you roll an ordinary die. 1 or 2 you shoot at long range, 3 or 4 you shoot at medium, 5 or 6 they hold the nerve and shoot at short range.
Right, so see what
High is
happens.
good.
3.
3, that's an average result. You shoot at standard range. You've got 5 at basic 3. Have they moved?
No.
No. 5 at 3 armoured target, 5 at 2. You need a 5 or better. No. Right. Do you want to run?
Yes, I think so.
Right, it counts as routing. You'll have to put a red counter on them. It's a disorderly retreat. So their formation breaks down and they scarper 10 inches like that, but the charge won't hit them. Now,
So they're coming back to
about there.
about here.
There you are. And they get a red marker, they count as routed.
All of them?
No, just them.
Or just those ones?
Right, now this. So these Panzerni are in transit now until they run out of distance. So what are this lot going to do? Have they got bows? Yes, they have. Are they going to shoot?
Yes.
Right, it'll be 5 at 2 again. So you need a 5 or 6.
2.
No. Are they going to take the charge or are they going to scarper?
No, they're going to come back with their mates.
Right, so they get a red marker and they go back 12. Sorry, 10. About there. Now you're taking the ones behind them, that hasn't happened yet. It's those ones.
Just these ones.
Yeah. They're facing away, the count is routed.
And can they take part in the battle again later or
They
not?
can, but they've got to be rallied, which I'll take you through.
Right,
Put
okay.
one element behind the other. And that shows their orders broken up. Now let's see, is this charge still viable? It is, that's maximum charge distance. So it's the same thing again. Are they going to try to stand?
Yes.
Right, 5 at 2. You need a 5.
6.
That's a hit. So you got one there. So the charge is going to hit them. Are they going to stand or are they going to go?
No, I think they'll come back too. I think there's
Right.
not so many of them left now. So I think they need to come back.
In that case, the same thing. They go back 10, break up their formation, and they get a red marker. And the Panzerni come to a grinding halt about there. They've been taking some casualties, but chased off 3 squadrons. Which puts them out on a limb a bit.
These ones?
No, mine.
Oh, yours, yes.
Right. And what happened here? This is a straight fight, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Okay. We calculate the factors. Yours are basic 3. They're charging 4. They're cavalry charging 5, and they've got a lance 6. So you've got 5 at 6, which is 1 and roll for a morale test. You get 1 casualty automatically, and if you can get a 6, no, you inflicted 1 casualty.
Oh, inflicted, okay. Right, okay.
And if you can roll a 6, you put a morale test on mine as well.
5.
No, right, so that's 1 against me. But it's all deemed to happen simultaneously, so I still count as 5 when I hit you. Mine are basic 4. They're charging and they're cavalry charging, so they're 6. They have lance 7, and they are more heavily armoured 8. So mine are 5 at 8. Which means I automatically get 1, and I have a 5 or a 6 chance of getting a second one. Got it, so 2 of yours go. Now that makes you loser of morale, loser of melee by 2 to 0. Those
Oh,
are
you've
gone.
taken them away.
Yeah. Loser of morale by 2 to 0. The difference in casualties is that for 2, that's taken off your rating for the morale test, and they're already raw, so they're -3 on a morale test. -3 on whatever you roll.
What?
-2 is oblivion stuff.
I
Really.
think so,
-2 in a command test. Less than 0 is lost, so you need a red counter. But you'll find the red counters are not the same. On one side they're black and the other side they've got an L. If you put it with the L side up.
This has got an R, I think.
Yeah. Oh, right, yes, it is. Yeah, that's all right. It should,
So they're done, these ones.
no, they're pushed.
Pushed back a bit.
Yeah, and that means that it goes on next time, but mine will get the charge factor again because they're pushing them back, and that's how we denote that.
Okay.
So the Panzerni are doing their job, they're keeping the
Yeah.
flanks clear. That turn, I think, we've done movement, we've done firing, we've done melee, and we've done the morale tests arising from it. Anything you want to ask at this stage?
No, so that's all this end of the...
Yeah, that's, so we move along to here.
Yes.
Uh,
Right.
yeah, right. Where have I put my box? There it is. Right, those are skirmishers, so they can just break ranks and run if they want to. Something is going to happen here.
So you're going to charge against them.
It might well be that, or I might be bluffing.
These, I can't quite see, but they've all got crossbows.
Yes.
Oh no, I think we have to give them a shot at firing.
They're going to shoot. They're going to stand and
Yeah.
shoot. Right. Well, both are charges. So you have to decide. We have to decide the range at which you're going to shoot. The maximum is 8. So it's split in equal parts. 1, 2 or 3 they shoot at medium range. 4, 5 and 6 they shoot at short range. So try it.
5.
Well, they're cool. They hold it until we're about
Yeah.
there, and then they all shoot. So it's 6 at each squadron. 6 at 3, short range 4. This could be dangerous. 6 at 4, you need a 3. So roll for one of them, it doesn't matter which one.
2.
No, roll for the other one, you need a 3.
5.
Right. So which one did that fall on? 1, 2, 3 my left, 4, 5 or 6 my right. My left. Right, now you're stuck. And both Cossack squadrons hit them. Poof. Poof. This should be unpleasant for yours. Right, mine are light cavalry, which makes the basic 3. They're charging and cavalry charging 5. That's all. They're not more heavily armoured. They don't have a distance. They don't have a long weapon. So 5 at 5, or rather, we'll do it all in one go. 10 at 5. No, you shot one. 9 at 5. 9 at 5 against however many a frontage of 9 gives you. Gives you 11. 11 at 3. So 10 at 5 versus 11 at 3 is the fight. So we'll do mine first as the attacker. 10 at 5 is 1.3. Only 1. You might just survive this. And you get 11 at 3 back, which is 1 and roll for the test. So roll a die.
4.
No test, but you get 1. So you've actually pulled a minor miracle there.
I've got 2 of yours and you've got 1 of mine.
Yeah, so you win that melee 2 to 1. So it's mine that do the morale test, on -1, their morale rating is 3. So they roll for this, they get a 1, they fail. And they are disrupted, which is the middle category of morale. So actually they pulled it with their little sabres. Well done.
So they just
You've
stay
held
there
them.
next to each other
Yes,
in the meantime,
yeah.
and then have another go at each other.
Mine may well break off. Because I'm faster than you, mine have the option of breaking off, yours
Right.
don't. If you turn to run, you just get cut down.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, so that one went against the odds. Well done, Margaret. Right, boys, first on the tray. Is there any charges or not? Oh, have we not done the movement?
Don't think we have.
No,
on
we
this
haven't
end
done the
as well.
movement. Right, what are you going to do? The Austrians are just going to sit. It wasn't supposed to be like this. They said they would break him up with fire before they reached us.
This group here have got guns.
They have. No, they have.
Yes, they have.
They haven't.
Alright, okay, so just the one mark.
They're all sort of
We
straggle
can
out
just
to the
straggle
flank.
out, and then we can move these
Right,
ones.
and you're going to take Mustafa Match with you.
Yes.
Right. Okay, well he doesn't have to come all that far. In fact, he'll do where he is actually. I'll show you how he works in a moment. Coming forward, 5 inches, which is going to be about there. Right. Get out of the way, you bloody skirmishers. Hold the staff, I'll drop back a bit there. And these ones can come on. You might want to bring up their
Yes.
supports.
They've got what for their weapons?
They're skirmishers for the second wave of assault
Right,
troops.
how long far can we move them?
You can move them, the skirmishers can move 6 and the assault troops can move 5.
6 there to there. These are they can move 5.
Yeah, 5 inches. And they better bring their Pasha with them. And then your mad dogs.
Well, these ones have just kept out of the way, haven't they?
Yeah, they
And
come-
these can go in between, is that right?
Yes, they can come up. Yeah, they were following the road, weren't they? But it's up to you what they do. The skirmishers will work with them, though.
They'll work with
those
them.
skirmishers.
So they
will
can
work
all
with them.
move
Yes.
forward, right? So how far can they move?
Skirmishers 6 and the pegs 5.
6.
They better bring their man with them as well.
And his flag.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's personal escort. You can get rid of that thread, it's not serving any purpose now, just chuck it on the side somewhere. Okay, so that's all the movement done. We're back to firing, aren't we? Right, well, shall we start at this end? Concentrate. Peasant militia are within their long range, so they're 8 at 1, which is not very good. But 8 at 1. They need a 6. No. And then the big gun, what's its grape short range? 6 inches. No. Well, if I ball, it's a hit.
That's it.
3 with a big gun is 1. So you lose 1 from them. Oh, that should have been better than that. Here. Right, well they're gonna fire straight into the massive front. Hitting a 4. Nope. This one will fire at these Balkan levies. Won't take much to get rid of them. We hope. It needs a 4, but it'll take more than that. Crooks, Cossacks. 10 at 2, we need a 3. 1 and a test against these ones.
Right.
The test will be at -1 because they're no, not him. He's the boss's acolyte. Yeah.
Right.
So it's -1 on your morale test for this lot. 1 is not good. Something bad will happen there. Command test 1 disrupted. They need a yellow marker.
So what does that mean?
Disrupted means half move, must follow up in combat. If they got into a fight and won it, they would have to come forward, not go back. Half number firing or fighting, may recover their command following a reform test which involves the general, and I'll explain that to you in a moment. Right, is fine. Long range 24 at basic 4, long range 3. Come on Stuart, 24 at 3. 2.5. So that kills 2 of these. Do more damage than the artillery. Standard range 10 at 3. It's 1 and roll. Takes another 1 of them. No test. And the gun will fire into these spies. At standard range needing a 4. No. Rubbish. Rubbish, I tell you. And that's it. Right, now this business about rallying. All these units that have got coloured markers on have got various states of degraded command and control, morale, call it what you will. The only way you can sort that, except on the green, which is the mildest one where they can do it themselves, is to bring a general to them. That's why you have so many officers that are deemed to be generals. It has to be their own general though. A lot of these troops are recruited by their boss.
Right.
So they tend to only obey him. So the Khan's mate, number 2, has to ride up to one of them and try to stop that one from running back, because these will keep running now until they are stopped. You know, their command and control is broken down. It wasn't an ordered withdrawal. They just turned and fled.
And fled, so he's got to come. So
Yeah.
that,
Now you get a free move for him, so you can move him now up to one of them, and he gets a crack at stopping them.
how does he do that?
You do what's called a command test, and the command test is rolling the standard die. Forming. Yeah, it's just a standard test. at 50-50, 4 or better, you're successful, but they're raw troops, so they need a 5. So roll a d6, you can get 5 or a 6, he rallies them.
6.
He does. So you can take the red off, but they can't do anything else in this turn.
Right, but they can turn round the next turn.
They're back under control
And
now.
these ones here.
They will keep going in the movement phase. In the next movement phase, they will keep going straight back until
Unless
he
we
manages
get
to
this.
stop them.
Right, and how does he do that?
He goes chasing after them in the next turn and
The
tries it
next
with
turn.
another
Right,
wall.
okay. Okay.
So they got away, but it's discommoded them quite seriously.
And we just take this
So
with
you
them.
take that with you until...
And these ones?
yes, both of those were the same, weren't they?
So how do they get through this bunch?
They'll go round, they'll go round.
Around. So, okay, so they need to come.
You could say the small group go through down the alley there, but the others will have to go round. The reason for that is that the standing order in units where if runners tried to come through them, they would have cut them down.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty harsh.
Right. I don't think there are any more compulsories, are there?
I'll put that one here.
They haven't actually broken yet.
Right.
Yeah, why it looks the same is I've actually advised you wrongly on the use of that marker. You should turn it over, the R side should be up. So they are the equivalent of routing. So it's ordinary movement now for both of us. Right, well, glory yes, death no. You can start doing your movement
Right,
anytime you
okay.
like, Margaret. Sorry.
So these ones can come forward 10.
They can.
Same for all of these.
Yes, you can move them all. Right. Take up a position where you can see what's going on.
Is there anything that can't go 10?
Not among yours.
No, they can all go 10.
Well, the foot can't. Those musketeers in his escort can't.
Right, okay. But these ones can.
Yes. What the hell are we going to do about this?
So, what about the ones at the back here?
They can come round if he wants to, but he would normally keep them as a
Keep them.
reserve.
Right, okay, we'll leave that at that then. Now, tell me again about the yellow.
Right, they can only move half distance, and if they get involved in a fight,
Yeah, I think we're not going to bother with that.
pull them out then. So peel them off and head them to the rear. They're under control, but they move slowly and in a disorderly manner. They won't go that far. Put them in behind that one. This side of them. This side. That's it. And keep the yellow marker with them. That's it. That's better. That's much better. He doesn't have to go with them. He can if he wants to rally them.
Right.
Well, they're supposed to be coming through here. Remember.
Okay, so we could move them round that way.
Yeah.
10.
They move 8. The medium cavalry. The light cavalry move 10.
These move 8, so that's
Yeah.
alright. They can move to the edge of the road here.
Yeah. The edge of the road. In that in the orientation of the road.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Are these the same? Yes.
Yes, they're more mediums. Where's their second squadron gone? Oh, it's those. The figures don't match. It's those ones. They're the second half of that unit.
And this as well.
Well, they should be in double rank still. They've gone out into single rank for some reason. The only thing they can do is they can try, because they're cavalry and they're fighting foot, they can try to break off to the rear. But because they're disrupted, the command and control is gone, so he can't just give an order and they all go back. They have to try, the officers have to try to get them to go back.
How do they do that?
And you do a test at 50-50, and if they get a 4 or better, they do it. If they get a 3 or worse, they'll just stay where they are. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think we need to have some at the back.
So that's stalled. That's the reserve. The Janissary Corps could start to move up a bit.
Yeah. These ones.
Yeah, they can come forward as well. 6 for the skirmishers, 5 for the rest. Up to, that's the maximums.
These, you can go 5.
Yeah.
And the heavy horse here.
They can do their 6 inches. And you
Behind
haven't done them yet.
We haven't done these ones yet.
No.
These, what kind of weapons have they got?
They're quite heavily armed. They have proper lance, sabre, bow,
They've got
and
everything.
pistols.
Okay, let's move them against your
Right.
raising the white horses.
They're armed to the teeth. They're going against the...
Yeah.
Alright. Wow. That's very much in the spirit of the Turkish cavalry. Just go at it.
And move the rest up behind them.
And if you want, the green one could swing out to keep this lot
Yeah.
from swinging in.
Yeah. And these can come up and manage to
6.
6.
Now, the ones that are getting in a tight corner here are your lights who are jammed in a never narrowing space. What do you want to do with them? This one's a bit damaged, the rest are okay.
Has he got a ring on him?
No, they're okay. The morale's alright, they're just a bit shot up.
Right. And these, right, to see what they've got.
Right, these are among the most poorly equipped. They're
Yes,
just
so these have got nothing.
lightsaber.
And these as well.
They've got short spear, which is no damn
That's
use.
nothing at all then.
And
Right, well, I think. Who have we got over here?
you've got proper light cavalry with lance.
Well, we don't want to set them against them, do we?
No.
So let's just leave them where they are just now and see
Right.
if that. And we'll move the guys in the boots up a wee bit too, because they're not really finding anything.
Been spotted is the report. And the officers' command is keep going.
So they're all going actually.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, but they're not really heavily armed. Well, they are quite heavily armed.
Yeah,
They've
they're
got
not all that
bows.
good. The Tartar fruit, they're the poor. in the social scale are the lowest of the low in Tartar society.
You're not going to do much against your horses, are you?
Right, well,
We've still got all these fellows back here doing
yeah,
very much.
the entire Janissary Corps
Yes, I think maybe they need to come into play now.
polishing their boots.
So how far can we move them?
5, same as the other Turkish foot. I'm putting down a marker there, Margaret.
That's as you're about to do something.
Yeah, so it's slightly out of sequence. I should have done that before, so if you want to change your mind about what these do, you're at liberty.
Come here as well.
Yeah, that's the only artillery you've got apart from what I'm about to explain to you in the next fire phase about your camel men.
Yes, this can come up with them, can't it?
Yeah, it just keeps up. They're only little 3-pounders.
The woods, but
Cavalry in
they're
the
not
woods.
terribly anxious to do that, are they?
Cavalry
Well,
in
they're
the
going to go
woods.
for these
Yeah.
guys.
It's that or a bluff.
Yes, well, I've moved these for that.
No, that was my fault. That
Right,
should have
okay.
gone down first, which is why I'm saying if you want to change your mind what you do with these, that's fine.
And are these good troops? Turn them all round.
No, that's fine. No, they
That's
operate
all right.
as individual squadrons.
All right, okay, right. Right, so they're out the road now.
Yeah. Right, charge cancelled. Job done. That's the kind of charge we like. The one that doesn't happen.
Okay, so are we?
That's the movement.
That's the moves. Firing.
Right, now, let me explain to you about these guys. This is the rule we had to make up. If you look at the model, you'll find that each of them has got 4 rockets. So we'll take what we decided was to take that as being the ammunition supply. This lot can fire, these two can fire 4 times each. What do they fire? Well, they fire by the same rules as light artillery in terms of distance, but there's nothing to these. They're just big firework rockets. So they don't actually inflict any casualties, but what they can do is they can cause confusion, and if you achieve a hit, a theoretical hit, it imposes a morale test, but not casualties.
No, okay.
And you have to count, you can put down a marker or something. Each time he fires one, put down a marker. When he gets to 4, they're out of rockets and they just trot off the back and go and get a cup of tea.
Right. Okay.
And you can fire them anytime you like. They can fire and move. They can be a bloody nuisance sometimes.
So they can move and fire at the same time.
Oh yeah, yeah. All they have to do is point in the right direction with his little tube holder and put a match to it.
Yeah. Right.
Where's our best target? These. Standard range, 4 to hit. It's a hit. Roll for damage. 4 with a light gun is 1, I think. Artillery, light gun, 4, yes, 1. Oh, sorry.
Set away.
Yeah. Cook's other gun hasn't got the angled angle to reach the cavalry. So, I'll fire into your Balkan levies, needing a 4. And that's a hit. That's 1 on them. At 3 needs a 4. No. And they'll fire. The other 5 will fire at them. But that's long range. 5 at 2 needs a 5. Still long range, which makes it 24 at 3. 5. 3 and a test. Woof, so that takes that element off and 1 ring of the next element. 2. 2 is, there's going to be some kind of penalty. Shaken, that's a green marker, that's the mildest form of disorder. That's those 3 elements there, not them. Okay. Right, just them, okay. And the gun will fire at them, and that is an enfilade. Right, 5 at 3, rolling a 3, I don't think that's enough. 5 at 3 needed a 4, so they get away with it. The greens, it's the same, 5 at 3, 4, we get 1 of them, so they need a ring. Thank you. And the gun fires there, needing it's a 4 but it's enfilade, so 3. It's a hit, damage, 3 will be 1 with a light gun. Yes, so 1 of them goes, so I can take those 2 and that off and put them there. That covers it. Achtung, Reiter! You can always tell things are about to get bad when the senior officers move to the back.
So have you got another gun to fire down there?
No, I haven't, I'm
is that
afraid.
you? Right.
Another 2 or 3 would be quite good.
Right, okay, so we're up to this other end again.
Yeah, and we've done all the shooting now.
Yeah. So I haven't done any shooting yet.
You haven't done any? Oh right, well you're shooting, right. Can't shoot because
You
they're
can't
engaged
shoot.
in hand strokes.
So can they turn and run away?
Tartars could, yes. Yes.
So how do we do that?
You just break off, but that flips over and becomes a rout rather than just bad command.
Right.
And they're only able to do it because they're light and mine are medium, yours are a bit faster. But if they stay, they'll get butchered.
So they'd be better to run away, there's no point in being there. Okay, let them run away then.
Right, they're going to scarper. That puts them there.
Okay.
And that goes with them. And mine are under good command, or a normal command, so he just gives the whole order.
Stops it. Okay.
Yeah.
So now these people here have got a clear field to fire on yours.
They
But
have.
they've got sabres on now.
No, these have got bows. You're alright. They've got bows. There are only 4 of them. It's standard range and an armoured target, so you've got 4 at 3, 2 for armour. 4 at 2. You need a 6.
Okay. Well, I think it would actually be better for these ones to fire on them, I don't know, or to attack.
Range is
Or
tricky.
too far,
Maximum range for bows is 12. You might get the front squadron of these getting a shot. But I think this is one of these things with you have to go by the sequence of the game. That would be legitimate. And they are within range. You could give them both.
Okay, let's both have a shot at them then.
Right, well, you've got 4 at 2. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, standard range armoured target. 4 at 2, you need a 6. No.
Nothing.
And then you've got 5 at 3. They're only just in, so 5 at 2. And another minus because they're an armoured target, so it's long range and armoured target. It's 5 at 1, so they need a 6 as well.
6.
Oh! Some arrows find their mark. Right.
actually see whether these.
What do you want to
no, these
know?
are mine. These troops there.
Those are mine.
These
Those
are
are
you.
yours.
They're running away. That's what it is. So.
They're falling back in an orderly
Falling.
fashion.
Okay.
That's what the Warsaw Gazette says, anyway.
Right. So what have we got to now? These ones are all retreating. These ones are. They're too far away to do anything towards this.
I get 2, which is a fail of the test. And I drop to lost. So you won that, but you don't follow up. However, if mine are still there, next time you can shoot them. They won't be coming at you in that condition.
No, no. Right, that's amazing. That would never happen. I mean, the foot soldiers would never.
The odds are against it.
Very much.
Is that, you know, the Turks did odd things. You know, the Turkish foot sometimes charged cavalry, which.
Well, that's obviously what they did.
Yeah. I mean,
And they won. Okay, so we're down to here now. Right, what have we got here?
well, there's no hand strokes over here, really.
Well, I think we were going to get these ones. I don't think they're ready to. They're not firing because they've got their low lances anyway, so
Yeah.
they're not ready to attack this yet.
No.
These ones, and these are long lances as well,
Yes.
so they're not close enough to do it.
No, in the next movement phase,
Yes.
you need to do something.
Yes.
Mine will have to react now.
Yes, so they're there. These are yours.
Yeah.
Now we've got this wee guy here. There's much more we can do here at the moment.
Right.
To anybody,
So
so that's it.
we're back to a new movement phase then, aren't we? Okay, well in that case, we do a half move back to there and a half move to turn into line. They've performed an exemplary manner, drill book stuff.
I'm just coming
Half
back
move to turn away, half move back, but they're facing the wrong way.
Right.
Well, I've got nothing to move until here. If you've got anything to move over there, we better do that.
Yes, all of these people are going to get moved forward because we have to be attacking this bridge now.
That's right, you need to be keeping up the
So,
pressure.
yeah, this can go.
So, if you take 2 from there, you can keep your front squadron up to strength
Right.
and do what you will.
So how far forward can you move?
But you want to get within what you think is decent bow shot, but gives you enough room to get out of the way.
Out there. So
Right,
that you
that's
can-
well within your movement. And the next one's to maybe about there. Yeah. Okay. It should be like that.
I just think this table's got bigger since the last time we played. I don't remember having to stretch it.
It's 10 foot by 5'7". It was the biggest I could fit into the last
room.
War Games room, and it just fitted in here.
Right, these ones are going to move the same distance forward.
He's rallied them, hasn't he? So it's not him. Remember, he's an independent agent.
Okay, so these.
So they take a
that's
half
right,
move.
They turn round.
To get them so sorted, and they can come forward a half
forward.
take them to there.
Yes, and these the same.
And
These are not been rallied.
no, they continue
kind of
barreling off to the rear.
To there.
Yeah. Taking this badge of
Which
shame.
means that these can go forward.
Fill the gap.
And fill the gap.
This is starting to look like serious stuff.
And that. All of these in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all needing to go forward.
Right. Right
They're
there.
never going to win a battle.
No, they're going back.
Well, they're going backwards, so they are.
Right,
And so
right.
are these, yes.
They're going back under control, so they
Yeah.
can.
They can turn round.
Yeah.
And that one.
They can't. They're
can't.
out of control.
Right, and these are all going forward.
Right. Okay. That'll help you. Ooh, it's beginning to look rather nasty.
Right. So that's this part of the table. Have we moved these ones?
Yep.
We've done that.
Okay.
Middle bit.
here you've got these Cossacks of mine on toast.
Going eventually.
What you could do,
They can come up to.
you could just about call that a charge. Hit the end of their line.
Okay.
The chances of standing against you are nil, really. You turn it and you charge.
A red bar.
It's alright, no, it's one of the blue ones.
blue
We'll
one.
just skip it as we know.
Okay.
There's absolute trust here. That was your intention. Alright.
This lot too.
No, they can come in successively.
Alright, okay.
You get more impact if
Just
you come in successive waves.
Right, okay, and what else are we doing here? These ones, I think they've got to start moving ahead towards the fort as well. You know,
Who?
these.
Right. Remember, their job is not to take the fort, their job is to burst through here.
Yeah. Well, if we swing them round and move them forward a wee bit,
Yeah.
not necessarily
Right, that's
terribly
fine.
forward, but
10 would take them just onto the road, so if you push them towards me, I'll place them. He's the boss, here come his lads. The other 2 units can follow behind them, so about there. And the other one about the same distance behind them.
how about that?
Yep.
Okay.
And you're well placed here, you've got your medium and then your heavy cavalry stacked up so you can throw in another squadron each time as long as you need to crush this. They're now in a very bad position.
I don't think we'll move these just now.
No, right, mine are going to try to get away, but their command and control is gone, so the officers are yelling at them, for God's sake, get out of here, go back. This time they do it. That's the line.
Which could make a real mess of the wee red fellas. The wee
Oh, yeah.
infantry.
I hope
Get them
so.
out of the road. Right, we're over to here.
Right, now, charge distance for them is 16, so you can reach the Austrians if you want to.
And what sort of troops are these? Are these?
They're armoured medium cavalry, so their basic is 4. They would be charging and cavalry charging, which would take them to 6. They've got a lance, which would take them to 7. So you would get 5 at 7. However, mine will almost certainly counter-charge you. You'll notice that 6 of mine fit into the frontage of 5 of yours. These are heavy, close-order German trained cavalry. So they're really boot to boot. They would be 6 at 4, charging 5, cavalry charging 6, more heavily armoured because these are heavies, these are mediums. 6 at 7, so in the end result would be 6 at 7 versus 5 at 7. You might win it, it's only a narrow advantage, and you need to keep the momentum up.
Yeah, well, let's try it.
Charging?
Yes.
Right, mine are counter charging. They meet about there. What are you going to do here? Now, you really, according to the rules, you ought to decide on the charge without measuring that. The maximum charge distance is 16. Do you reckon you're in?
So, I don't think we're going to do anything else just now.
Right, well that was movement.
Right.
I'm within less than a foot of the table edge already, and this is only about the 5th move or something. I knew this, the way I worked it, I diced to put some randomness into where and when the supports came up, and it was obvious this was going to be the weak point. So you found it.
Okay.
No shortage of targets, Gav. Right, hit them. Requiring a 4. Missed. Same target. 8 out of a miserable 1. That's no use for a 1. Crying out loud, hit something. 4 or better. It's a hit. Damage. 2. 2 and a big gun would be 1. Artillery damage chart, other guns 2, yes 1 from them. It's alright, you don't need to.
There's a 2 there, isn't there?
Yeah. Never stop them like that. Mamma mia, shooting. Yeah. 4 required. Hit. 5. I think that's 3 with a big gun. Yes.
3.
It's the rear squadron though. That was the only. They were the only ones within the park. So that blows a big hole in them.
It does.
That's how you're supposed to do it. Right, now these, unfortunately, by virtue of their failed charge, are sitting ducks there at 4 for this battery. So sitting that they missed them completely. Right, so musketry from the redoubt. And 3, a great crash of musketry. It's 1-0 for the test. 1. I've got it covered. There we are. 1. We deployed a gun, but we didn't move the foot, did we? This regiment can't fire because of a cavalry crossing the front, but this one can. Right, so you'll notice there's a coat colour difference. The blue coats of muskets, the red coats have got long pole weapons. So we fire with 2 ranks. Or long range 3, open order 2, 16 at 2. 1 and roll for the test. 1 and a test against the Marines. The raw troops, so -1 on the test, Margaret. Roll a d6, please.
6.
What care we?
So they're alright, they feel past
Yeah,
the
a
test.
few of them got shot down, but they laughed it off.
Right, okay. Right, now.
Right, Stuart's. We need another miracle, Colonel Stuart, please. Still at long range. Right, boys, stay cool. Aim for the belt buckles. Fire. 24 at basic 4, long range 3. 24 at 3 with a 2. 24 at 3. 2.5, so they don't get the 0.5. 2 more of them go. I've got it. This, I should have been doing this a while now instead of making you stretch. 1,
You got 2.
2. That takes me up to my dragoons in the buildings. The obvious target is that squadron of spies. So the whole regiment, the 2 groups of 5, will fire on them. It's long range, so it's 10 at 2. 10 at 2 needs a 3. Nope. Gun, same target. And you're 4. Yes, it's a hit. 1 of them. So nobody else available to shoot. It's a weak flank.
You're not shooting with your white horse. What you did, you moved them?
Well, they opted to charge.
Okay, right. So
They do have pistols, but they've opted not to use them. It usually doesn't work. Right, so it's hand strokes and then that's the end of the turn. Yeah?
right, so up to you again.
Yeah, hand strokes. Unless you've got any shooting that you haven't done yet.
I can't, well...
Oh, your Rocketeers. You want to have a crack at the Rocketeers?
Which one do you do?
If you remember, they're just firework rockets.
Right, oh yes.
There's just a big bang in among them.
Right,
And the question is how much confusion it causes, so
Right,
we're about
okay.
to find out.
Right.
So it's a standard test on a trained regiment with a general present, so they'll only fail on a 1 or a 2.
Did you get it?
1. Right, well that rattled them.
A funny game.
So there's a bit of consternation there.
So they've had their shot firing.
Right, so he's fired 1. We'll just give him a wee marker so that we know he's only got 3 rockets left.
Alright, okay. So,
He's going to have a crack at Stewart's, is he?
Yes.
Right, but they're behind cover and it might just hit the palisade.
The palisade.
So he needs a 5 or a 6 to get it in among them.
Okay.
No.
Not doing that. Right, okay, so down here then. So how about the 2 that are head down there?
Right, but they're hand strokes, they're not shooting. Have you got any more shooting?
Well, let's see what's down here.
I don't think you have actually.
The only ones, they're not shooters, are they?
No, they're not.
not, and neither are they.
Well, they can be, but
They're not really in
they've only
range
got
to do
pistols.
that.
It's not within range.
Okay.
Oh no, they've got bows. They've got bows, but they're fronted by their own men anyway.
And they would have to fire into here, and that's
Yeah.
really not a good idea.
It won't
Right,
work.
okay, let's do the hand strokes then.
Right, hand strokes, starting from 6, Lance 7. So you've got 5 at 7. Mine are closer order, so I've got 6 at basic 4, charging 5, cavalry charging 6, more heavily armoured, heavies against mediums 7. So I've got 6 at 7 against your 5 at 7. So for you, it's 1 and roll a 6 for a second one.
3.
So you get 1 of them. And mine come back with 6 at 7, which will be very slightly better probably. 1.6. So 6 gets me another one. No. So that's a draw. That just there's and where we mark that is like this. So nobody's going forward.
Right, and then the other one.
Alright, and this, you'll have a slight advantage here. They're all armoured medium cavalry on both sides. So the 4 at 4, 5, 6, but you've got Lance 7. So you've got 5 at 7 against my 5 at 6. 5 at 7 is 1.6, 1 and a 6 for a second one. 1. Mine are 5 at 6, which is 1 and no chance of a second one. I just roll for the test, which I don't get. So that's another draw. 1 each. This is where cavalry fighting becomes a bit like poker. You have to decide whether to up the ante or not next time by throwing some more into the bag.
Well, we've both got more to come at the back, haven't we?
Yes, and you've got a lot more than I've got. I've only got a little more.
So this group here that are retreating, can we move them over to here or not?
What you could do is if the general steps back a bit, they could just be deemed to slot in here behind
Alright,
me.
so they're operational again.
Yeah, so they're in good order, they're just
Right, that's
thinned
fine,
out.
that's fine. So that's, you can stop at that.
And that's where we pause. There's no hurry, next instalment by arrangement,
There's a few changes in the table anyway,
aren't there?
but I've lost a lot more of mine than you.
Well, that's my only chance.
Yes, yes.
I was really hoping my artillery would make a bigger impression.
But they're not bad in
They've not done badly.
No, I mean, I had an awful lot more to start with than you had, so.
Yeah, not surprisingly, the best performing unit so far has been Stuart's.
Yeah. But we're nowhere near the bridge yet, are we?
No, side, it's your Marines seen off cavalry.
Yes, they did pretty well, you know.